Good afternoon and welcome to Locked On NBA Daily. On today's show, it's time to have a conversation about Cooper Flagg. Just how good is he? Meanwhile, did James Borrego's surprising decision mark the end of the Zion era in New Orleans? And I asked the guys, if they could do anything over in NBA history, what would they pick?
You are Locked On NBA, your daily NBA podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, welcome back to Locked On NBA Daily, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast network. However you're tuning in on YouTube, on your podcast app, thanks so much for making us your first listen every day. I'm Wes Goldberg. Today, we're talking about NBA do-overs and a Hall of Famer getting a long overdue honor, and we're doing it with the help of Locked On's local experts. I have two of the best with me, as always. From the Locked On Nuggets podcast, senior NBA writer for the Action Network, it's Matt Moore. Matt?
My oldest kid is a teenager, and it's finals week for him, his first finals week as a freshman. And that kid, it was a really hard adjustment for him going to high school, and that kid has busted his absolute tail and has just gotten his grades to where they need to be by staying at school all week, doing extra studying, spending time with his teachers. So I want to give a shout out to my kid for all the hard work he has. I cannot be more proud of the work he put in this semester. Be good to your kids when they're up against this kind of stuff. It's a hard time.
Great call, and hopefully he'll get a real job and doesn't have to podcast about the NBA like the three of us because he did well in school. From the Locked On Bulls podcast, also a Bears and Bulls creator for Bleacher Report, it's Haize.
I find it, first of all, amazing message from Matt there. I do find it funny that he says that in the same week, the season finale of It, Welcome to Derry, which is the definition of F them kids. If you guys have not watched that show, definitely go watch that show.
It's Friday afternoon, and guys, we had a great slate of games last night, a bunch of wild finishes that all beg some bigger questions, including Cooper Flagg's game winner over the Pistons. A wild ending to this one, with Flagg making play after play down the stretch on his way to 23 points, 10 rebounds, and 4 assists. Here's the reaction from Locked On Mavericks last night.
Flagg. There are very few players in the NBA that I would take right now over Cooper Flagg. Like, just not many at all. And you see in a game like this exactly why I am so high on Cooper Flagg. I think that he can win an MVP. I think that he can be the best player on a championship team. I think he can be an all-NBA level player. All those things are available to him. He's got to have to take steps up. He's got to have to take leaps. But I see the vision. I see all of it for him. The Pistons took a lead with a minute 22 left. And what does Cooper Flagg do? He takes the ball. He drives. He ISOs against Isaiah Stewart. He realizes he had a mismatch. He hit a floater over Beef Stew. 19 seconds left. Flagg, pick and roll. Cade Cunningham switches on him. And what does Cooper Flagg do? All right, I'm going to stop real quick. I'm going to pull up and rise up over the top, and I'm going to hit this shot. Boom, 110, 109. Those two shots, two more clutch baskets, two more just absolute nails plays from Cooper Flagg.
A lot of excitement there in Dallas. I want to start today's episode with one of our favorite segments, The Real Question.
What is real?
Let's go back to what Nick said on Locked On Mavericks. Not a lot of players that he would take over Cooper Flagg right now. So, the real question, Matt.
What is real?
Is Cooper Flagg a top 50 player in the league already?
Oh, okay. Oh, no. I'm going to go with no. And the reason I'm going to go with no, Mavericks fans will be like, because you're a hater. It's more about, like, look, there's guys on that list who are not going to be as good, who will never be as good as Cooper Flagg will be at his peak. The problem is just when you're at his age, there's so much you don't know. Like, you have to learn about reads and progressions and how to control the defense and how to manipulate the game and how to, like, understand all of these type of things, how to pace yourself. All of these things kind of go together. And Flagg's getting away right now based off of just pure talent and skill. And honestly, his floater's hitting at a pretty unreasonably unsustainable rate. And like, that's like a lot of where he's getting to. And so right now, I would not have him as a top 50 player. I think he's going to be top 10 by the time that he hits his prime. But I think it's very easy to look at highlights and get lost in the stuff that helps teams win, which is not reflected in the box score. And also to lose sight of the big picture, which is reflected in the box score. And none of those things really suggest that he's a top 50 player yet. He's awesome. But I'm going to give respect to the guys that are there right now that are more polished.
Yeah, I agree with Matt here. And no knock on Coop, because I think Cooper Flagg's going to be great. But 27 games into your career, I'm not putting you in the top 50. I don't care who you are. Like, that's just like finish your first NBA season. Let's do that first. He's 18 years old. He turns 19 in 2 days. We're talking about it's still going to be, he'll be into season 4 before he's able to legally drink. Let's hold off and put him in the top 50.
This generation doesn't drink, Haize.
That's a lie.
That the Gen Z's, like the Thunder couldn't even open the champagne bottles after the finals. They didn't even know how.
That's a good point.
So ESPN's war had
to be
ranked.
fair, they were raised in the OKC Dark Magic Lab, so
It's true.
I mean, true. And just because they don't know how to, they probably never drank champagne. There's the young people aren't going around drinking champagne and wine. They're drinking cheap tequila.
That's true. They're like, how does this bottle pop? There's bubbles in here. ESPN's WAR ranks Cooper Flagg 72nd. Even I think that's a little too high. He's still a minus on the court, but it is trending in the right direction. And even in the last 5 games, he's still technically a minus on the court. There's a lot of noise in there because Dallas is weird. But I'll say not top 50. I agree with you guys. Top 80, maybe. Maybe the potential with the way he's going to be top 60 by the end of the season, but top 50 seems like a lot.
I have a question. Because like a lot of this is just based off of his scoring. Like, did you guys expect him to be this type of like scorer? Like I thought he would be much more of like he impacts the game on. I thought he would be a lot more like Cade. Right? Where like Cade early on, it was like, wow, Cade does so many good things. It's too bad he can't shoot, but he does a lot of these other things. And instead, it's like, oh, Cooper's a great scorer, can't shoot. Like you look at the numbers and he's 55% from 2-point range, which is awesome, but he's also 24% from 3. Can't shoot. Can't shoot. Again, that floater he's gotten to multiple times in clutch situations is such a valuable weapon. If that's sustainable for him, that's going to be such a big thing for him going forward. But he's just like a lot different than the player I thought he was going to be.
His.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I looked at Cooper. I thought he was going to be fine offensively. Maybe not this yet. I looked at more his defense and his activity and impact there. Yeah. But that's what I kind of expect him to be, like the player that can score a little bit, but that his versatility defensively stood out early, and it hasn't necessarily been that at all.
Yeah, he's been a little bit of a like get to his spot, mid-range type shooter lately. And to Matt's point, I didn't really see that come in there, but. The Pelicans, meanwhile, got an impressive overtime win over the Rockets last night, but Zion Williamson watched from the bench as James Borrego opted not to play him down the stretch. Here's more from Jake Madison, who, congrats, returning to the podcast after getting married.
Big story out of this game, other than the win, is Zion Williamson not playing in the fourth quarter or overtime. I'm not ready to make this big declarative statement yet, but it's also kind of in there that like things are a little bit different here for Zion Williamson all of a sudden. I would imagine he'll go back to starting, but if they keep winning games and he's coming off the bench, I don't know if they're going to change that as quick as we might expect them to do. This also says like, hey, Zion, you're not the guy anymore.
So Haize, Zion Williamson obviously still on the Pelicans roster. He did play in the first part of that game, but the real question,
what is real?
Have the Pelicans already moved on from Zion in spirit?
In spirit, yes. That's the key word there. In spirit, yes. I think that they see a vision and a path where Zion isn't the priority on that roster anymore. With Fears and Queen, Trey Murphy III having big years, all that. I think that the Pelicans are really now looking at that direction, saying, all right, this is what we can be. If Zion's here, he's here, but we have a path that we can move forward without Zion.
Yeah, I mean, I just think at some level you have to take the results of what you've seen over the last 5 years and just go like, hey, this is not working. I've just been thinking a lot about this, and I think a lot about with the Clippers of your culture always takes on the identity of your best player is what every GM will tell you. And maybe that's because GMs don't want to take responsibility for the culture, but I tend to think it's probably accurate that your team takes on that identity. And I just think that with Zion, you're not going to get the right kind of identity. And so I think they're hoping that with Derek Queen and Jeremiah Fears, maybe that they can find that right identity. Borrego has them playing a little bit better basketball. By the way, Saddiq Bey last night, flamethrower. Saddiq Bey was incredible last night in that game. When you hit rock bottom, I think it's okay to look for different ways out. You don't just have to take the same path. You can find different ways to get out.
I think
right now Zion has
ahead, Haize.
squatters rights on the Pelicans roster. He's just a squatter there. That's all. They can't do nothing with it.
Shout out to James Borrego. That is not an easy decision to make when you're the interim head coach and you're ostensibly you want to have that job, right? You want to be the permanent head coach there, and so to bench the star player. If that doesn't work out,
if they lose,
yeah,
if they lose that game, then the thing is like, how could you not play Zion?
Right. Eric Spoelstra benched Bam Adebayo down the stretch last night in Brooklyn, but Spo has the credentials to go ahead and do that. Borrego's
Spo could bench Jesus Christ. Okay in Miami.
It's true. Steph Curry said that he wishes Klay Thompson was still in Golden State. What else do we wish we could do over in NBA history? A fun segment coming up next. Today's episode of Locked On NBA is brought to you by DoorDash. The season's heating up, and DoorDash has a way to keep fans in their bag the whole way through. Whether you're watching the highlights, the tunnel fits, or just your favorite player, DoorDash makes the entire season even more fun because every player has their bag. With DoorDash, fans have one too. DoorDash keeps your snacks stocked, your gear fresh, and your watch party vibes absolutely on point. There are nights when your team stresses you out. Let DoorDash become your post-game therapy. Sometimes you just need dessert right now. Those late-night interviews hit, and suddenly you need chips at midnight. DoorDash is built exactly for that, too. If the group chat says pull up, DoorDash makes sure that you show up prepared. Snacks, cups, even a phone charger for the friend who's always at 2%. From tip-off to overtime, stay in your bag and order on DoorDash. Get snacks, drinks, gear, whatever gets you through the season. Delivered right to your door. DoorDash, in your bag all season long. Today's episode is brought to you by Rocket Money. Ever feel like your money just disappears each month? It happens fast. A few subscriptions here, an impulse buy there, and suddenly the numbers in your bank account don't match the numbers in your head. Rocket Money helps you get clarity, track every dollar, and stay in control of your finances. Because managing your money shouldn't feel like a second job. Rocket Money does the heavy lifting for you, so you save more and stress less. Rocket Money finds subscriptions you forgot that you were paying for and helps you clean them up quickly. Seeing all of your spending on one dashboard makes it easier to understand where your money's going. I like how Rocket Money automatically builds budgets based on past spending. It keeps you on track without overthinking it. The bill alerts and spending notifications help you catch small things before they turn into big expenses. Having the app finds good times to save each month and keeping you consistent with your financial goals. So take control of your finances and cancel your unwanted subscriptions with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/lockedon today. That's rocketmoney.com/lockedon. rocketmoney.com/lockedon. Welcome back to Locked On NBA Daily. The best way to support the show is to subscribe on YouTube. We air every day, Monday to Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern, wherever you get your podcasts. I want to go back to this ESPN story where you had various Warriors players, namely Steph Curry, telling ESPN that they wish Klay Thompson was still there in Golden State. All of this ahead of Klay Thompson returning to Golden State on Christmas Day. It got me thinking, what are some other things in NBA history that we wish we can get a do-over on? Because I think we would all wish that Klay Thompson was still in Golden State because of that big three and everything that it represented. What are some other things that we wish we can get a do-over on in NBA history? Haize, start with you.
I mean, mine's an easy one. I think everybody can figure this out. I wish that after title number 6, they gave the Bulls one more chance. I wish Jerry Krause would have kept that team together.
Interesting. I thought you were going to go with Derrick Rose there.
I mean, that was in their control. That was in Krause's control to keep that team together. Derrick Rose getting hurt, that's out of anybody's control. So of course I would love if Derrick Rose never got hurt is always a great what if. I just want more realistic with it because Krause had control over that.
6 is not enough for you?
No.
You won 6 titles in 8 years, and you're like, man, my biggest regret is that they didn't win 7.
7 champions.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. Especially now with hindsight knowing we're not going to be
how bad it was going to be.
We're not going to go. It's going to be 30 years. So, yeah.
What if they had gone to the finals in that, I guess, 4th season after MJ comes back and they lose? And then that ruins the perfect record for MJ in the finals.
Oh God. Wow,
man.
Can you imagine what that? See, now I want this to. Now I regret this because I would have wanted Tim Duncan to beat him. That would have been freaking incredible if Tim Duncan starts his championship run by beating the Bulls.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, I have a bunch. Among them, I wish that Fred VanVleet's child had been born 1 week later, because if Fred VanVleet's child is not born when he is in 2019, he does not go on a run where he shot 78% effective field goal percentage in the last 4 games of the Eastern Conference semifinals against the Milwaukee Bucks. That 2019 Bucks team was incredible. They were awesome. They were the best team in the league, and they were the most fun to watch. The Bucks win that series if Fred VanVleet does not go supernova over those 4 games. It wasn't Kawhi. It wasn't Kyle Lowry. It wasn't their defense. It was Fred VanVleet going absolutely supernova. And then the Bucks win the title because the Warriors fall apart. And then Giannis has 2 titles, and this entire run looks different. Everything is different if the Bucks win that series. So I'll start with there. I wish Mark Jackson had not gotten fired as head coach of the Warriors. And the reason is because if he doesn't, then that team remains what it should have been, which was a first round out. They never become this juggernaut. We don't have to deal with years of just being like, well, there's no point because they have Kevin Durant. They're just going to win every single year. We get actual competitive basketball. And on top of that, LeBron wins another one, which increases his perception of being the greatest of all time. And the Clippers probably win one. And then Chris Paul has the title. Everything sucked about the Warriors becoming the Warriors. Those are 2 of the ones that
I had a Warriors one too. It wasn't Mark Jackson getting fired, although that I didn't think that far back. I just went to 2016 and the crazy cap spike that happened. I wish that cap spike never happened and that Kevin Durant didn't leave an awesome Thunder team to go to Golden State, because that created that superpower Golden State team. If they don't have Kevin Durant, they probably win another championship, but they don't have the run that they have.
Right.
And then it either keeps Durant in Oklahoma City, which was a really fun team to watch with him and Westbrook and Harden. Not Harden at that point anymore, I guess. But or he goes somewhere else and creates a superpower somewhere else, which would also have been way more fun than him going to the Warriors. And to your point, Matt, LeBron also probably still wins one in that scenario. Another one in that scenario.
Tyrese Halliburton's Achilles.
Ooh, yeah, that's a big one.
I think they win that game, man.
Of all the Achilles injuries last postseason, that's the one you would do over, I think.
Yeah.
No
I think if he doesn't tear that Achilles, I think they beat the Thunder.
That's interesting.
And that would have been the best. That would have been the biggest. It would have been the bigger upset than the Cavs. It would have been the second biggest upset in NBA history. And it would have been, it reshapes everything about Indiana basketball and Halliburton and everything.
I'm blanking. What's the first biggest upset in NBA history?
The 2016 Cavaliers.
Coming back 3-1. Yeah.
Coming back 3-1 against a team that won 73 games.
Yeah, fair enough. Hey, is anything else?
I have one thinking more. I'll say this, just to get back into like injury things. What if Baron Davis never suffered the knee injuries? I think people forget just how good Baron Davis was as a player. As like they used to call him the bodyguard instead of a point guard, because like he just used to body people, bully people around. Baron Davis never suffers those knee injuries that definitely slowed down and impacted his career. I wonder if he ever gets a title.
So the knee injury one that I had was Jamal Murray in 2021, tearing his ACL that year. I was in the building for that game. I was covering the Warriors at the time, and I saw him go down. And
it's your fault.
That's what I'm hearing.
Matt, I think that swung 2 finals. And you were mentioning like Giannis maybe getting another one.
Yeah.
If Jamal Murray doesn't go down in 2021, I don't know if they win it that year. I'm pretty sure they win it in 2022, because I think the Nuggets would have been the best team that year in the 2022 playoffs over that Warriors team. I think Jokic gets one in 2022 and 2023. I think that team was that good. That felt like similar to your Giannis thing. That felt like those teams were better than just a one championship team.
I have a weird sliding doors like chain reaction thing. The 2007 Warriors, this is 17 years ago or 18 years ago. The 2007 Warriors tied with the Los Angeles Lakers, and tiebreaker decided that the Lakers went ahead and the Warriors wound up in 8th, and they upset the Mavericks. That Mavericks team won 67 games with MVP Dirk Nowitzki. They kill anybody else in that field except the Warriors. And so if that tiebreaker goes the other way, then the Mavericks probably win the title. The Spurs don't, which means Tim Duncan has 4, not 5. The Mavericks win a title, and that changes their entire 3 to 4 year course, which means they probably don't trade for Jason Kidd and Brendan Haywood. which means they don't win the 2011 NBA championship.
Oh, see, that's the selling point right there.
And then Miami wins another championship, and LeBron wins another.
Mm-hmm.
There's like this. There is a direct line from Baron Davis, who Haize mentioned, from Baron Davis and the We Believe Warriors to LeBron not winning in 2011. There's a direct correlation there.
Haize, how do you feel about Matt and I both finding ways to get LeBron another championship here while you're sitting there saying, I want Michael Jordan to get another one? This is NBA debate at the heart and soul. At the end of the day, it always comes back down to MJ versus LeBron.
Is LeBron?
Well, I mean, hey, let's throw Kobe back in there. What if the NBA doesn't veto that Chris Paul trade to the Lakers?
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one, because then you don't get that Steve Nash, Dwight Howard calamity either.
What if what if Tim Donaghy gets caught 6 months earlier and the 2002 King series never happened?
A lot of great stuff to do over. That was fun. We're going to get to our fave of the week next. Don't go anywhere. Today's episode of Locked on NBA is brought to you by Gusto. Let's be real. Nobody starts a business for the joy of calculating tax withholdings or managing payroll spreadsheets. That's where Gusto comes in, to take the stress out of payroll, benefits, and HR so you can focus on running your business and supporting your team. Gusto is the all-in-one, remote-friendly payroll and HR platform that makes managing your team simple, transparent, and fast. Whether you're hiring, onboarding, or paying employees, Gusto helps you do it all from one place without the hassle of hidden fees. Unlimited payroll for one monthly price, which means no surprise charges at the end of the month. Gusto's automated tools like offer letters, onboarding materials, and direct deposits save you hours every week. And knowing that you can reach certified HR experts anytime gives you real peace of mind. Try Gusto today at gusto.com/lockedonnba and get 3 months free when you run your first payroll. That's right, 3 months of free payroll at gusto.com/lockedonnba. One more time, that's gusto.com/lockedonnba. Thanks for making Locked On NBA your first listen every day. The Locked On Podcast Network is a show for every team. Check out Locked On Pelicans for more on Borrego's decision to bench Zion Williamson down the stretch. Check out Locked On Mavericks for more Cooper Flagg hype. And post-games shows for all the teams that played last night. It's time for our favorite of the week. It's what we do every Friday here to end the week. Matt, start with you.
Okay. I'm going to go with the cup. With how exciting the cup was and how much fun that was to enjoy. And then I'm going to go with all the holiday stuff that NBA Cares does around this time of season. I talked about this last year. Go to NBAcares.com and just take a look at all the stuff that they do around this time of year. Peyton Watson in Denver was giving out bikes. There are so many players that take time out of their day, and a lot of these players will do them on their own and actually pay for it. They will take groups of underprivileged kids and take them on shopping sprees for Christmas. They'll buy clothes for the families. Like, this is a time of year where you can see the NBA do actual good, and that's worth, I think, really recognizing. So that's my favorite of the week.
Haize?
My favorite thing of the week, Cooper Flagg's 42-point game. I know it came in a loss, but it's just a fun game. It was just fun to just watch that down the stretch of that game. That's always fun. Of course, the NBA Cup things, and then lastly, one of you guys know, my older dog passed away earlier in the week, but the dog that we still have went to we got the urn from him, and he was just sitting there by it like he knew it was his. It just made me smile for a second.
Oh, that's really nice. One of my all-time favorite players, Kevin Garnett, returning to the Timberwolves organization in a new sort of outreach role. But more importantly, the announcement that his number 21 jersey is going to be retired at some point over the next 2 years, as we all know. Long overdue after his fallout with the former owner, Glenn Taylor. But since the sale of the team, I guess he's reconnected with the organization. I love that he's rebuilt his relationship with that franchise. And that leads us to our Friday Power Rankings.
Player. I am a system player.
Go Power Rankings. Go Power Rankings.
Like I said, Kevin Garnett, one of my favorite all-time players. That black Timberwolves jersey, that jersey is sweet. I'm so glad the Timberwolves have brought that back this year. Naz Reid, in particular, looks awesome in it. It really suits him. That got me thinking about my favorite jerseys of all time. So this is a combo of obviously the jersey design itself, the number, the name, and definitely the memories of the player in that jersey. Some honorable mentions: Vince Carter in that Raptor jersey, Penny Hardaway's #1 Magic jersey in that the blue one with the pinstripes. I think super underrated. I think MJ's number 23 has to be on this list. Ray Allen in his Supersonics jersey was really cool, and then another underrated Supersonics one, I think, Kevin Durant in that first year in that Supersonics jersey, I thought was a really cool jersey. But kicking it off, number 5, Alonzo Mourning, not with the Miami Heat, but with the Charlotte Hornets. That number 33, that really cool. Matt, that one was for you. That was a cool jersey. That teal with the Hornets, that was classic.
That's my favorite jersey of all time. That's my favorite jersey of all time for my favorite player. For my favorite player of all time. Everything about the Hornets aesthetic in the 90s was absolutely elite. That's why you see all the starter jackets and everyone's affection for that. That's a phenomenal one. Thank you, Wes. It's a great Christmas gift to me.
It's the fact that you mentioned the starter jackets and everything around it. You're absolutely right. There was so much merchandise around it. I remember winning a plush Hornet at a carnival when I was a kid, and I was like, "Oh, this is my favorite team. That's not the Miami Heat." I just became like a fan of the Hornets because I had that plush toy. Don't know where that ended up. Number 4. All right, back to my favorite team. The red Dwayne Wade jersey. That's an all-timer. To me, I think Miami's best jersey is the red one, not the black one, not the white one. All due respect to the Vice jerseys, all of the kind of cool alternates that they come out. That like blood red jersey. And when Dwayne Wade had like the sweat dripping down and made it even like a darker red, that number 3 was really cool. That red Dwayne Wade jersey, the memories that he had, the 2006 finals run in that jersey, that's one of my all-time favorites. Number 3, and I think this is where we can all agree this has to be in the top 3, Allen Iverson's black Sixers jersey. Also a retro one that the franchise brought back. Congrats to Allen Iverson. Number 2, Shaquille O'Neal's yellow number 34 Lakers jersey, I think, is sneaky underrated. Matt giving me the gross face. Come on.
The Shaq Magic is so much better with the pinstripes. Shaq Magic was so much better than Lakers than Lakers. And like
from a design standpoint and a retro standpoint, and that was like a little bit of a thinner Shaquille O'Neal, so the jersey was a little bit drapier, but he didn't have any like great memories of Shaq. Like you didn't have the finals moments. That yellow Shaq jersey in the Lakers, that was the diesel. Haize, break the tie here.
Yeah, no. No, I'll say the pinstripes. I like the pinstripes.
So I thought the debate would be the Shaq in the Lakers jersey or Kobe's number 8 Lakers jersey, but I thought
the Kobe number 8. I will give you the Kobe number 8 one.
I thought the Shaq one was cooler than the Kobe one. I thought that was my hot take.
I mean, honestly, top 3 all need to be Jordan jerseys. I wasn't even a Jordan guy, and the top 3 all need to be Jordan jerseys. But your number 1.
Number 1. I already said it. Kevin Garnett, the Black Timberwolves jersey. It's number 1. It's the best one ever. He was the jersey. The jersey was him. The number 21. The way that number 1 kind of dripped down the jersey with all like that angular Timberwolves Minnesota word marking. It's the best jersey of all time. Just perfect symbiotic relationship between player and jersey and everything.
I love the black Jordan one. The black 23 was like that one. That one was like, I thought just looked really cool. Not as iconic as the others. Chris Paul's New Orleans Hornets one. Also there's a very rare one that I think deserves a lot of credit. It's funny you said the black Sixers Iverson. I always think the white with the white jersey for Iverson.
I was between the two.
That one's really good. It is kind of crazy that like, what's an iconic Spurs jersey? Because I wouldn't say Duncan. Would you say it's David Robinson? Haize?
I don't know. To me, it is Tim Duncan.
Yeah, I would say Duncan.
Yeah, I would say Duncan.
Tony Parker too.
Robert Horry.
How many people rocked a Tony Parker jersey ever? That's a question outside of San Antonio.
I feel like I've seen a few.
Fair enough.
I might have been in San Antonio. I spent the New Year's in San Antonio once, so that's a different story.
By the way, the actual best jerseys of all time belong to the Arkansas Rim Rockers, a defunct NBA G League team. That is the most awesome and ridiculous jersey of all time. The Arkansas Rim Rockers out of Little Rock.
Shout out to the Rim Rockers. If you like what you heard today, subscribe to Locked On NBA Daily, wherever you get your podcasts, including on YouTube. Thank you to Matt and Haize for their expertise every day. Thank you for making the Locked On Podcast Network your first listen. We'll see you right back here next week on Locked On NBA Daily.